Okay, good evening everyone. And I was just telling my friend here, sometimes you plan one thing, by the time you start, Hashem has His own plan. What do we know? If we only knew 1% of what's going on, we would be in a very good situation. 1%. We don't even understand 1%. That's why I always cannot understand that people who don't even know 1% of what's going on around, they have so many complaints, they give so many speeches against, how is it possible, I don't have emunah, I don't believe, I don't understand, why should it happen, why does it happen to me? How do you know what's going on? You don't know what's going on. One thing we know, that everything that happens for the benefits of the person. Even though it may take him 7 years to realize. Not always he understand. I would like to speak, since the plan is changed, I was about to speak about one thing, and now I'm going to speak about something that I have to just make up on the spot. So I have an idea. I think we should speak about Meserut Nefesh. What does it mean, Meserut Nefesh? First of all, it's very inspiring. Meserut Nefesh means how much a person is willing to give for the truth. You know, if we put each one of us on a scale, each one of us weigh different. I'm not talking weigh in pounds or kilo. I'm talking weigh, what's the weight of the person as far as mitzvot, right? One person, you put him on a scale, the scale show 100 pounds of mitzvot. Then another person you put on a scale, it could be 1,000 pounds of mitzvot. Sometimes you put a 14-year-old boy, you put on a scale, it's 1,000,000 pounds of mitzvot. Better than the 70-year-old man. Depends what he does. If he sits there and learns Torah all day, so since he became bar mitzvah until now, 1 year of learning Torah, he already made more mitzvot than a 70-year-old that doesn't learn Torah. So it's all about profit, spiritual profit. I always repeat it because I want to make the people aware that just to be religious, to live ordinary religious lifestyle, it's not enough at all. It's not enough. Yes, it's for sure you're avoiding a lot of punishments, you're avoiding all kinds of problems, for sure, obviously. But it's not enough because you have to be very clever to know how much to earn. You have to know how much to earn. Over here you can earn a lot, over there you cannot earn that much. So the people have to be clever to know how much to earn. So Meserut Nefesh comes from this pasuk that we say every morning and every evening. When we say Shema Israel, the beginning of Shema is Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. You should love your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your money. All your money, it's not necessarily means money, it's say Me'odecha. Me'odecha means in every possible way that you can do something for Him. Everything a person does for Hashem, he really doesn't do it for Hashem. God forbid to think that Hashem needs something from us. It's perfect with or without us. Before us, after us, it's the same perfect Hashem. The Torah made it very clear. For your own good, for you and your children after you, for your own benefits, leman yetav lecha, for your own good. Don't do me any favors. I don't need your favors. However, Hashem made it seems like He really depends on us, that He really needs us, that He really get upset or happy thanks to what we do. This is the way the Torah says. The Torah says there's an expression called Tzar HaShechina, the sorrow of the Shechina, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How much pain he has. And another place it says when Hashem punishes a Jew, the Jew has the agony and the pain and the suffering, and Hashem has just as much, the same suffering. A Jew is crying, Hashem is crying with him. A Jew is upset, frustrated, Hashem is frustrated with him. Right? Similar like a father punishes his son. Who suffers more? The father that gave him the patch or the boy that received the patch? Sometimes the fathers suffer a lot more. I know people who patch their kids and a minute later they go to the room to cry. Because it's not their nature. They force themselves to do it because this is the right thing to do at that moment. For the boy. he speaks bad, he cares, he steals, he does all kinds of bad things you cannot ignore. In general, not everything the kids do bad needs to get retaliation. You cannot respond to every little thing they do. Things that they grow out of it, it's just a matter of age, they'll grow out of it naturally, you don't bother them so much. But things that it's only going to get worse if you don't touch it now, if you don't take care of it right now when he's 11, 12, 10, 9, whatever, it's only going to be worse. For instance, someone who's lying. If the boy is lying and you pretend that you don't realize and you're not making any comments, you let him continue with that, he gets to an illusion that by saying few words, he solves all his problems. Doesn't realize that he's only making his life much more complicated. So you gotta put all your focus on stop it when he's young. If you don't do it then, forget it. He's gonna grow. It will be impossible to make him stop lying. So you cannot give up on this. Punishments, take away stuff, repeat it, give him lectures, give him speeches, give him whatever you want until you're gonna save him from that habit. Same thing stealing. He goes to the candy store, he's 6 years old, 5 years old, he stole candies. Some parents say, he's a kid, what does he know? No, he already has a sickness, mental sickness. If you don't address it right now, it's only going to get worse in 10 years. Those things must be addressed immediately. But if you jump on the table and break it, what do you want? He's 5 years old, he's like a monkey. What does he know? It's like a monkey. He doesn't understand what table is. It's $1,000 glass. He doesn't understand. Hashem wanted you to lose $1,000. You would lose it with or without him. Don't make mistake that think that because of him you just lost it. If you didn't deserve to lose, you wouldn't lose. And even if the kid broke it and you don't deserve to lose, you get it somewhere else. In an unexpected way, this 1,000 will return to you. So there's no really reasons to be upset and damages that they make, financial damages, because financial damages that we made to ourselves, not them. We deserve it, that's why Hashem sent it through the kid. For us, it's a test, how he responds to the kid. But this is something they grow out of it. You can explain him, don't jump on the table, you're breaking it, look what you just did. There's no reason to give him a patch or punishments, because they're just a matter of age. He's going to be 8, 9. He's not going to jump on a table. This is the idea. So the Torah says, how much you're willing to give for Hashem, that's a very important criteria, how God is judging each one of us. Most of us, I'm talking about those who are considered to be religious. The word religious is not a clear word. There are many people who put themselves in that category of religion, but they are way far away from the minimum of this category. They are not belong there. They just think they're religious. And some people consider themselves not religious for whatever reason, and they're really more religious than those who think they are religious in different ways. Of course, everyone needs improvement. We're not perfect. But the way Hashem is judging the person is how much Meserut Nefesh he has. In English, the right word for that, I believe, is sacrifice. How much you are willing to sacrifice for the truth. Now, what makes people not willing to sacrifice for the truth? What's the main reason why people hesitate? When it needs a sacrifice, they stop right there. They want to do a mitzvah. When they find out what's involved, time, money, efforts, hard work, waking up in the morning early, and many other examples, what happened to these people? They stop right there. They had a plan. 2 or 3 days later, they got cold and they forgot about everything. What really makes a person change his plan? He wanted to do something good and then he stopped. What's the main reason?
Interest.
What do you think is the main reason? Ego sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes even when it's nothing to do with ego, a person stops. Oh, hello. After. There you go. Huh? No, I tell you what it is. Is convenience. Convenience. Is this convenient for me or not? If it's convenient for me and I can earn mitzvah at the same time, very good. What's wrong with that? Very comfortable. plus I'm making mitzvot, very good. For instance, if a person drives from here to Long Island, straight, LIE straight, exit 35, let's say, and somebody needs now a ride from here to exit 33, it's on the way. Why not to make mitzvah on the way? I'm driving anyway. It's not going to cost me a penny extra. On my way. So, very good. But now let's see, he needs on southern side of Long Island. He has to go now all the way south and then return all the way back to the LA. Oh, that's already a big difference. Now you see right away 90% of the people make up excuses. I'm in a rush. People are waiting for me. I can't. My car is not driving so good today. I came with a friend. He's in a rush. You know, we've been in this movie before. I want to ask you a question. Which person did a bigger mitzvah? A person is going next to the lake and he see a person is drowning to death. He jumped with his suit. He has a nice suit, nice tie. There's no time to take it off. Right away, jumped inside, he swims. He gets the person to come out. He saves his life. Who does a bigger mitzvah? This person or a person that has a piece of 2 slices of bread with butter in a poor society, poor place? He has 2 slices of bread sandwich with butter. And one person that is hungry comes to him and says, I'm hungry, can you give me something to eat? And he take 1 slice and give it to him, and now he ate 1 and he ate 1. So they both half hungry, half full now. Before, he could be full for the rest of the day. But now he has to split his sandwich to 2. Who did a bigger mitzvah? What do you think? The one who saved the life of the Jew? Or the one who gave 1 slice of bread that cost 2 pennies? Obviously, if I wouldn't ask you this question, all of you would agree that the guy who saved the life of the guy, he deserves a lot more. But now when I'm asking you this question, it makes you think, why is he asking such a foolish question? There's nothing to compare. If the rabbi asked this question, that means something is fishy here. We've got to find the trick here. So the answer is, who's considered that he did more sacrifice? The one who gave 1 slice of bread. Why? Let's use our common sense. If you walk with a nice suit, and somebody is drowning and is about to die, if you will ignore him because you're afraid to lose $200 that the suit cost you, or the tie, whatever, if you will ignore him and you continue to walk, what's going to be? Your life is over. From this moment on, everybody will know you are a murderer. There's nothing better than this. You are a murderer. You ignore someone and he died because of you. You cannot afford to fall into this category that everybody would look at you, hey, because of you this guy died. So you don't have that much of a choice. You do it because what the people gonna say if I'm not gonna jump? With a piece of bread, that's all I have. I'm starving myself. I eat. It's between you and him. Nobody knows. That's called sacrificing. Sometimes the sacrifice, it looks like a very simple mitzvah, very small mitzvah, but the sacrifice is very big. One guy came to me in one lecture. After the lecture, he gave me $1. And first words he told me, please don't laugh at me. If you know how difficult it is for me to give you this $1, then you would appreciate it. So I told him, believe me, even if you wouldn't tell me this, I would already know to appreciate it. Why? Because there's 2 possibilities. One is that you're a mental case, and second, that you're a big tzaddik. And I rather choose the second. Why? You look normal to me. If a person come and give you $1 donation in today's day when the dollar doesn't have that much of a value, that means for him it's something big. One guy, an old person, he sent his boy to yeshiva. He was a European Jew, non-religious. He sends his boy to yeshiva. The boy came with tzitzit home, and the boy started to make the father involved with Judaism, with learning Torah. Finally, when this old person agreed to go and learn Gemara, He was going every day and learning another line in a Gemara, and again and again and again. After months that he was learning, he finished one page. What takes us a day, it took him, who knows, 7 months, 8 months. It's a very famous story. He called up Rav Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, in Lower East Side 20 years ago. It was the most important Rav in America in that time. He called him. He said, Rav Moshe, I want to invite you to a party that I'm making tomorrow night, Siyum. Siyum means I finished something. I finished the whole Masechet, I finished the entire Shas, the entire Gemara. So Rav Moshe, he made Siyum in everything he won hundreds of times. For him it's nothing major, and of course he doesn't have time to go for everyone who made Siyum that he's going to go to his parties. Like this is going to be half of his life sitting in parties for all the people he knows. But Rav Moshe just wanted to be nice to him, is the way he was very nice person. So he told him, what did you make a siyum on? And the person says, I finished 1 page. Now Rav Moshe Feinstein is very clever. He knows if this guy is calling me and he tells me, I want to invite you to a siyum on 1 page, it's again the same thing. 2 chances. Either he's a mental case, or he sacrificed a lot for that page. Look how much it means to him. He makes a party. He said, what time it is? I'll be there. The rumor in a neighborhood, Lower East Side. Why all the Jews lived in Lower East Side? Because the Jews, the way the Jews are, when they come from one country to the other, where the boat is parking, when the boat gets to the port, the first thing they do, they go with their cash that they bought from under the rug. They go like this, they see for sale. They knock right next to the port. They came in Seaport. They walked half a mile around in the neighborhood. They started to buy property. Another one and another one. All of a sudden you have 100,000 Jews living there. Because one brings the other. Cousins, uncle. Lower East Side became Borough Park. That's how it was. Later, when some of them came, that was already after the war. The survivors. That's like 60 years ago. So when they got to, where the Statue of Liberty, that area, they had American relatives that were very wealthy. They used to make weddings in a plaza, in a Hilton, all these fancy hotels like today. So in one of the books I read a shocking story. One guy, they were waiting for their relatives, they came from Germany. Of course, so many of them died, so there was a cousin, an uncle, whoever left. So when they came there to the airport, it takes time until they really pull the boat in. So they're talking. You talk here and they're standing in a boat for an hour. You begin to scream, how are you? How is this? What's happened with that? So one of the Jews that were here, American, said to his cousin, I wish you would come a week earlier. You would come to Moishe's bar mitzvah in Plaza. And you know how they looked after the Holocaust, right? So all the Jews, one Jew took his tefillin out of frustration and threw it into the water. And all of them took their tefillin out of anger and they started to throw all their tefillin. Next to the Statue of Liberty, you have hundreds of pairs of tefillin under the ground. They just wanted to die. That was really murdering them. After all what they've been through, we are dying in the camps, in the oven, eating potato peels, and you are making weddings in the Plaza Hotel with beautiful bands and bow tie, dancing, while your uncles and cousins and brothers are dying there in Europe. If they would listen to the Torah, it wouldn't happen. What does the Torah says? Noseh ba'ol im chavero. When your friend has heavy weight on his back, you must go and participate with the weight. Give me some, let me help it. His donkey is on the floor, he cannot pick him up, you must stop and pick it up. Help him. If Jews go by the Torah, many of the things would be prevented. So Rav Moshe Feinstein told that Jew, okay, I'm going to come to your wedding. to your party. Everybody from the neighborhood heard. They say if Rav Moshe goes to that siyum, I guess it's important. In that siyum, he got on a stage and he said, sometimes a person comes to this world only for one mission, one specific mission. Everything else he does, keep Shabbat, put tefillin, eat kosher, make brachot, make Leil Seder, that's mandatory. But that's not his main taste in life. He will have one moment of his life that the real test in his life will come to him. And if he's going to pass that test, he succeeds in his mission. That's it. He will never have to come back to this world again. He finished. Goes to Gan Eden, finished. If he fails, he's going to have to come again and again until he corrects it. And he says, sometimes a person in his previous life finished the whole Talmud, but one page he didn't do so well. And it was almost perfect. It's worth it for Hashem to give him another 70 years of life to finish that page. And that's when I heard that Jew called me and say, I finished a page. I knew it could be, this is the case that I'm talking about. Guess what happened? 3 hours later, that Jew went home and never woke up. He died. Story 20-something years ago in Lower East Side. So I had Ruach HaKodesh. What came out of his mouth, 3 hours later, the Jew finished the page and he died. What do you see? 70 years, that Jew who knows how many things he had to do, goes to work, traffic, problems, doctors, marriage, children, everything really. It's a cover-up. For what? For that moment that he's going to find what Gemara is, and he's going to have a page, and he's going to sit and learn that page who knows how many times. Finally, in the end, he finished one page. The Gemara says, there was one rabbi, his name was Rabbi Preda. It was 2,000 years ago. Every day he used to come to the yeshiva. He had a student, what we call today a moron. A moron. See, Gabi, in English I also have jokes. You're worried that it's not in Hebrew. That's okay. So this kid, this guy, whatever he was, a kid, a young, a teenage, his head is blocked. Every day Rabbi Preda teach him one page 400 times. Read it 400 times. The Gemara says 400 times they learn the same page. Again. One time, the rabbi had something important to do in the afternoon. He comes to the yeshiva in the morning, he said to the genius, he said, hey, today I need your fully, undivided attention. You must listen to everything because today I have an important meeting. 2 o'clock I gotta be out of here. So the guy said, no problem, Rabbi. 1:45, he said, we are already 399. One more time, you know it? He said, Rabbi, I tell you the truth, today I didn't understand anything. Usually by then you understand already after 400. So what? Just when I need to go today, I didn't understand anything? He said, no, I have to explain you. From the moment you came and told me that you have something important to do, I was so nervous that I won't make it, I couldn't concentrate. So the Gemara says, guess what he did, the rabbi? Today, what a rabbi would say, first of all, today you won't find any rabbi in the world that have patience to teach somebody more than 4 times. If he told him 4 times, this rabbi will be all over the news. How much patience this rabbi has. He teach the boy 4 times the same page. 400 times. And the rabbis of today, they would need 2 million years to learn Torah to get to the level of this Rabbi Preda, just that you understand who we're talking here about. Every name that mentioned in a Gemara, that means he knew all the secrets of the Torah, all the Kabbalah, everything. Perfect people. If they were not in a level of Mechaye Metim, that they could take a soul and bring it back into the body of the dead person, they're not mentioned in a Talmud. They don't say their name. Only those that mention in the Talmud, you know they knew all the secrets of the Torah, everything. If you read about their life, you can't believe that it's possible. You will never believe. I always said, if they bring for 5 minutes somebody like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai or Rabbi Akiva or any one of these names, with no exception, any one of the names that are mentioned in the Talmud, 5 minutes they'll bring him to here, to Bet Gavriel or to walk here on 108th Street. In 5 minutes the whole world will be shocking, rocking. Nobody ever saw such wisdom. Just by seeing him, first the way they look, their face, their holiness. I don't know how they would be able to tolerate what they see around on the streets today. They won't believe that the world came back so far, 2,000 years. People forgot to get dressed, how people look in the street. They won't believe. But for us to see one of them, then we would understand what a real kosher Jew means. To be in a level of the Gemara. So Rabbi Preda said to him, okay, relax. Forget about my business meeting, forget about it. Let's start all from the beginning. I'm not going. He sat and told him another 400 times. The Gemara says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu announced in heaven that moment that Rabbi Preda would live 400 years. Just for this. This is what we say in the Gemara many times, Yesh Adam Koneh Olamo Berega. One good moment in your life, you can get all the blessing that come from now on is thanks to this moment. Where do we see that? We had Avraham Avinu and we had his nephew Lot. Avraham was a billionaire. Like what we have today, Bill Gates of this generation, this was Avraham Avinu in his generation. Very, very wealthy person. Not only him, Yitzchak also was like this. Every country that they came to, right away everybody knew the president, the representative of God is here. As we read in the Torah, Nasi Elokim ata bekirbenu. You are the president of God. You have the president of the congregation. The Goyim call Avraham Avinu, you are the president that represents Hashem in this world. Avraham Avinu doesn't have children. His nephew Lot goes with him on his trip. Hashem told Avraham, Lech lecha, walk to the place I will show you. Then the Chazal asking, what was the merit of Lot that from him Mashiach will come, from his family? David HaMelech is from the family of Lot. Right? Ammon and Moab came from Lot and his daughters. He had 2 daughters. One gave birth to Ammon, one gave birth to Moab. Moab means Me'av, from the father. From them, Ruth Moaviyah came. She converted. She is the grandmother of David HaMelech. That means the Mashiach comes from Lot. What do you think? It's coincidence that Hashem choose one person and say Mashiach will be your grandson? We didn't get this chut. What was his chut? They ask. Right away, first thing that comes to the person's mind is, look at Lot. In Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom ve'Amorah, he have guests coming to his house, and the people of Sodom ve'Amorah they come to rape them. They attack the house. They bang on the house. Imagine hundreds of people around your house banging, get the guest out of the house. We want to destroy them. We want to rape them. That's what they did. Lot says to them, leave my guest alone. I'll give you my daughter. So we don't want your daughter. We want the guest. Say, okay, leave my daughter, I'll give you myself. Take me, do whatever you want to me. Leave the guest. No, we want the guest. They don't know the guests are angels. The angels, when they come in this world, they look like people. It's possible that we gave a ride to somebody on the street, it wasn't even a human being. You never know. Eliyahu Hanavi is a human being that Hashem turned him into an angel. He never got buried. Elisha the prophet went up to Shamayim with his body. Chanoch, in the Torah it says, Chanoch, it's gone. Hashem took him with his body to Olam Haba. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, he never got buried. There's other names. There's a list of people that turn into angels, to a spiritual thing that we call malachim, angels. So, they don't know that there are angels. Just when they're about to break the door and break in, they had special mirrors. They blinded them with a mirror. And the people couldn't see anymore. And they realized it's dangerous, and they left them alone. So now, I want to ask you a question. How many people in today's generation, or in general, ever, are willing to take their daughter and give them to the crowd, that the crowd would rape the daughter to pieces to save 2 or 3 guests that came from the street? Few guests came, knock on your door, excuse me, I want to sleep in your house 2-3 days, I don't have where to go, can we sleep, take a shower and eat by you for the next few days? Oh, sure, no problem, mitzvah, come. Okay, no problem. Just imagine the FBI is looking for this guest. Right away, you're going to feel not comfortable that they're in your home. It can get you into trouble. So you're going to do everything to get rid of them. Why? You're going to risk your life. Now imagine that you're offering them to take your son or your daughter and leave them alone. You know them 2 hours. What are you going to do for them? And then you're willing to get killed for them. This is very big zchut, no? So right away, everybody thinks Lot deserves to have Mashiach because look at his level. Comes the Torah and say, Gurnish, nothing. That's not his mitzvah. That's nothing. Why Lot will have Mashiach comes from him? For different reason. Listen to this. When he goes with Abraham in front of Paro, Sarah, the wife of Abraham, one of the 4 prettiest lady ever lived. Everybody who looks at the face of Sarah faint from her beauty. Imagine today, Miss Universe, Miss America, Miss this, Miss that, Miss Daisy, whatever. They look like monkeys compared to Sarah. All these misses. So now, they look at Sarah, right away, all these goyim, shtufei zima in Egypt. Egypt was like America today. What is Egypt? The empire of the world. They all want to put their hand on her. Pharaoh is the king, he has the money, he has the power. Who's going to say no to him? So Abraham, he knows if he's going to tell them she's my wife, what's going to be? They're going to kill her. He's going to kill him to get rid of him, and then they'll take Sarah. Because even these filthy goyim, they won't dare to put their hand on a married woman. That's why Jews have tradition in Bukhara, in Yemen, in all kinds of countries. They used to marry their children with ketubah. Before they know to say Aleph Bet, the kids, they're already married. Why? When the Yemenite Muslim break into the house and want to kidnap the kid, right away the father brings the ketubah. Hey, she's married already. He shows she's married to her cousin. They don't want to touch her. Today people don't care. They go free with married women, unfortunately. Then they wonder why we suffer so much. But even the Goyim didn't dare to do such a thing. So, Lot standing next to Avraham Avinu. The whole reason Lot went with Avraham Avinu was that Avraham will die. How Lot gonna know that he became the new Bill Gates? There's no lawyers that call you, hey, Mr. Lot, good afternoon. It's Avraham, your uncle lawyers is calling. Please come to my office tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I want to show you what a rich man you became. Different world. If you don't go with Avraham died, what's going to happen? All the people in the area would grab all his animals, all his gold, everything. That's it. If he doesn't have a son, that's it. So Lot want to make sure that he watches future estate. So now he's standing in front of Paro. He could have played dumb. He could have said to Paro, to Avraham, hey, you made a mistake, uncle. She's not your sister. She's your wife. You made a mistake. Just playing dumb. Then Pharaoh will see Avraham is standing next to the king and lie to him. Right away, get rid of him and finished. Right? And he was dying to say, the Torah says he was dying to say, because right away he became a billionaire. But he was holding himself not to say, for that second or minute, how long it was, maybe 20 seconds, maybe a minute, for that minute of nisayon, of a test, that he did not open up his mouth, he got the zchut that moment to get Mashiach come from him. That woman. that he gave out millions of dollars, billions of dollars, whatever it was. That's called sacrifice. So now I want to ask you a question. That's beautiful, very nice. With all the respect, what's a bigger mitzvah? To be quiet? Because if you're not going to be quiet, they're going to kill your uncle. So yes, if they kill your uncle, you inherit the money. As much as we love money, how many people are willing to kill their uncle just to take their money? Come on, there's a limit. So I'll wait another 10 years until he'll die naturally. Anyway, he's 99 years old. It's not 25. I'll wait. But there he's willing to die, he's willing to give his daughter. So here, now we learn the secret of life here. Something you grew up with, naturally, you don't get any reward for it. If you grew up with a father and mother that bring guests to the house, open up tables, barbecuing, bringing guests, helping people, everyone from the street, they bring them inside the house, give them food, drink, respecting people. That's your mentality. Every minute of your life, guests were coming in, your mother ran, she cooks for them, she ran to the market, bringing watermelon. You cannot be any different. It's your nature, it's in your genes. You grew up like this. Same thing, one guy grew up in Harlem, one guy grew up in Borough Park. He's speaking Yiddish, he's speaking black Americans. That's their nature already. Now go ask them to change their accent. It's impossible. It's their accent, it's their genes already. Lot grew up in the house of Avraham Avinu. 4 direction, hundreds of guests coming for free from morning to night. Avraham is giving his life in the 3rd day to run in the hardest day in the history to look for guests. He grew up as a kid like this. It's his nature to die for the guests. But he was a very greedy person. He loved money very much. That's why he was willing to follow Avraham for years, make sure that he doesn't lose the wealth. And when he had the opportunity to make it, that was a big test for him. For this, only Hashem knows what's hard. Sometimes you see a Jew that make a very simple mitzvah and you laugh at him. That's what he did. You have no idea how much sacrifice he had in that mitzvah. You have no idea. And in Shamayim it counts by how much efforts. That's why the Torah says, "Ve'avta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha." A lazy person that wake up 3 times a week to minyan. 7 o'clock he show up in shul. He's a lazy person. It counts a lot more than a hard-working guy that come every day. And when people look at him, this guy is not so religious. One time he come, one time he doesn't come. Sometimes I see him davening at 9:30. You know, what do you know? This person is lazy. That's his nature, laziness. Since he's a kid, he's lazy. He doesn't want to get up to the sink to get a glass of water for himself. 3 hours he sits until his wife will come back from work to make him a cup of tea. All day you didn't take your pills, Moshe. I was waiting for you to come and get me water from downstairs. You know how many people are like this? They're so lazy. Look at the union workers. 25 years they try to fix the bridge. Since I came to America in 1989, they didn't finish the construction in any of the bridges here in America. 25 years they're fixing the bridge. Why? You come in the morning, newspaper, beer, chocolate, donuts, talking, one guy sitting there, one guy's there. The projector is working, a lot of noise. Make believe they're working. One guy told me, make no mistake, they have no rush to fix it. Why? They get X amount of budget from the state every month to fix the roads. So let's say it's $300 million for the entire New York State. I'm just making up a number. If 1 year they're going to work very hard and fix everything quick, next year the budget will go down right away 30%. Now to get it back to what it was, forget it. It's impossible. So they rather burn the tax money of the taxpayers as long as they supply themselves extra salary forever. This is it, you know. Most of the taxes goes to the garbage. Go to the schools, see what they waste. They're killing you on school tax. half of it goes to the garbage. What for? What do they do at these schools? Trip to here, trip to there, security guy there, security guy there, the teacher, vacation, pension plans. That's what happened. So the test that Lot had shows that he was willing to sacrifice. There's a very interesting story. There's one synagogue in Israel. There's a synagogue that is packed with people. It's called Bet HaKnesset Bet Yaakov B'Shchunat Bet Israel. Bet Israel is a neighborhood it's full of Baalei Tshuva, and some Americans live there in Yerushalayim. Very religious area in Yerushalayim. There's a synagogue there called Bet Yaakov. What's so special about this synagogue? Yerushalayim have hundreds of synagogues like this. What's special about this synagogue? No matter what time you're gonna get there, any time in 24-hour cycle, there's always full with learners. People sit and learn there. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock at night, 6 in the morning, 10 at night. Anytime you come, there are people sitting and learning. Some places, they very busy during the days, 10:30 at night, almost no one left. It's become empty. Over there, always people are learning for many, many years. Now what's the schut? What's the secret about this shul that over there it's always packed? Before I explain, I want you to know one thing. When a person makes a mitzvah, there are different channels of reward that is earning, different categories. First, Hashem is checking if he made the mitzvah in a proper way or not. If he put tefillin, but the tefillin were missing a letter or a word, then it's not kosher. Now, 20 years he puts tefillin, he comes to synagogue, he says Shema, he puts tefillin. Once in his life, it did not count that he put tefillin. So what's with this person? So first, he doesn't get any punishment for not putting tefillin, like someone who has kosher tefillin and doesn't put it. Someone who has tefillin and doesn't put it, the Torah called him a criminal. Poshea Israel begufo. That's what the Torah says. For someone who has tefillin and doesn't put it, even one day in his life. The halacha says that if a Jew got arrested, let's say he got arrested, he was on the way to synagogue in the morning, they pulled him over, seatbelt, then they found that his insurance expired, they arrest him. They put him in jail. It happens all the time. And, when they handcuffed him, his tefillin stayed in a car, he got nervous, he forgot about it. They locked the car, they towed the car, whatever they did, and they put him in jail. Now, he has to do everything he can to get a pair of tefillin. Everything he can. So he comes to the cop and he says, listen, I need a tefillin. My car is, whenever the car is, I want you to get me the tefillin. The cop's going to laugh at him. Not necessarily. If we take out a nice fat bill and he goes like this, hey, I want you to get my tefillin. It won't help. Take another 5. Take another 10. Everything has a price in life. Right? I always tell people, why you don't come to daven shachrit? No, I'm exhausted. I work very hard. This hour, it's going to crush me if I'm going to get up an hour earlier. I can't. I just can't. I say, okay, let's make a deal. From tomorrow morning, you're going to come to shachrit. Every time you enter, there's $1,000 cash waiting for you at the door. Soon as you walk in, $1,000 cash at the spot, not tomorrow. Right now. $1,000. Don't worry, I have a sponsor for you. Would he ever miss shachrit from now on? So what do we see? That he's a liar. Why do you use the word I can't? Just say I don't want. It doesn't pay for me. I don't believe in it. Say the truth. Why do you say I can't? You can. You just don't want enough. I can't. That means I tell him I'll give you $1 million. I want you to fly from the Empire State Building to Muncie, to fly. You give me $1 billion. I can't fly. That means I can't. I can't means I can't. You give me the whole world, I can't. This is not I can't. I don't want. So if a guy is in a jail and they bring him now pork to eat. We'll get to that feeling in a second. Pork. He doesn't want to eat. Let's say the guy is anti-Semite. He wants to force him to eat pork. The Torah says there are two different halachot. If it's mitzvah taseh, if it's a positive mitzvah such as putting tefillin, right, or shaking lulav, if it's in Chol HaMoed, let's say, this is a positive mitzvah. A Jew has to give up to 20% of his total worth not to miss the mitzvah. So that means if he has $10 million altogether, he has to give the guy a bribe up to $2 million, 20% of his total worth, not to miss one-time tefillin, or one-time lulav and etrog, or any positive mitzvah in the Torah. However, if he tells him to make a sin, eat pork, eat shrimps, he has to give everything he has to avoid, everything he has to avoid to make the sin. The whole 10 million, not to make one time a sin, to take a bite from the pork. So now, why do I tell you this? That's just to teach us what is the value of a mitzvah, what a value of a sin. If the Torah told you got to give everything you saved in 60, 70 years, the Torah is not sadistic. You see, many times the Torah says, no, violate Shabbat. If they're going to kill you, you're not allowed to keep Shabbat. Pikuach nefesh doche Shabbat. Right? There are always exceptions. Here, there's no exception. If you work 60 years, you killed yourself, you saved $100 million, and now you're about to take one bite from a shrimp or from a pork. You have to give everything you have not to do it. How many people do it just like that? Ignorance. They don't know. They just don't know. So, the tefillin, he has to do everything he can for the guy to go get the tefillin for him. Now, this is the way Hashem pays the reward. First, on if you did it right or wrong. If you did it 100% right, then the mitzvah was done. If you didn't do it right, you don't have the actual mitzvah, but you get rewarded for the efforts. So the fact that he was coming every morning and putting the tefillin and trying to do the mitzvah, for the efforts, he gets a separate reward. Not for the mitzvah. The ot ibeni uvenechem, vaya leot al yadecha, he doesn't have the ot. He's going to say, why? What is it my fault, Hashem? I bought tefillin, I paid $1,000. It's my fault that the guy made a mistake. Come on, why are you not giving me the ot? The answer is, it's reality. It's reality. It's like saying somebody drank a cup of tea, but there was poison in it. Is he going to die from it or not? He didn't know. He didn't know. Somebody put poison in his tea. He drinks, he dies. Hey, it's not fair. He didn't know. What do you mean he didn't know? It's reality. You did not put the original tefillin that Hashem said to put. One letter is out, it's like nothing. It's all secrets. By the way, you should know, if you have made a mistake in a tefillin, there's no way to correct it. You have to erase all the letters from the end of the tefillin all the way back to the mistake, fix the mistake, and then continue to write it. The problem is that if you wrote the name of Hashem, you cannot erase the name of Hashem. Therefore, 90% of the mistakes that they make in tefillin and mezuzot, they cannot fix. They have to bury it. Hours of work went to the garbage. Why? Because the Torah says, "Uchtavtem," you have to write it in the right order, from the first letter, the second, the third, the fourth. It must be in the right order. Who cares? What order? I want to write today apart from here, tomorrow apart from there. In the end, it's going to be in the right order. No, it's pasul. It must be in the right order. So you see that every letter make another step forward. If you do it wrong, spiritually, it doesn't work. Not only that, if they found the tefillin pasul, in the head there are 4 different chapters, 4 different cards, klaf. If one of them pasul, you may think, okay, I'll take the other 3, and I make the sofer write for me another part, and like this, instead of buying 4 different cards, I only have to buy 1. It's a quarter of a price. It's not going to be kosher. It has to be done in the right order. Many people don't know it. Sometimes you buy tefillin, you don't know who you buy it from. You take it to check, they say, ooh, beautiful tefillin. It's enough that he wrote it in a wrong order, or he fixed something that he wasn't allowed to fix because he already worked 10 hours on it, and he didn't want to start from the beginning. It's a big nisayon. It's a big test. You're putting a non-kosher tefillin all your life without knowing. That's why you got to be very careful who you get the tefillin from. Why? Because it's divine. This is the way Hashem say it. You cannot move a little inch from what Hashem say. So now there are another reward. Remember, if you did the mitzvah correctly, there's 1 reward. If you didn't do it correctly, you lose the actual reward for the mitzvah. For the efforts, you always get. Because you have efforts. Whether you did it right, whether you did it wrong, the efforts, you get reward. There is another reward. 3 rewards for each mitzvah. What's the third one? What came out of your mitzvah? What came out of your mitzvah? For instance, 2 people build a synagogue. One built a synagogue here, one built 3 blocks away. The first synagogue is packed with people. Every Shabbat, hundreds of people. Every day, hundreds of people. 100 minyanim a day. Learning Torah. The other hardly have minyan. 1 minyan here, 1 minyan in the afternoon. Shabbat, 20 people hardly coming. Hardly any Torah over there. They both invested $2 million. The first one built a synagogue for $2 million. The other one built synagogue. So the effort is the same effort. $2 million, $2 million. Synagogue, it's kosher synagogue. They made it kosher according to the halakha. The first one get 1 million times more rewards than the second one because somehow he got lucky. His place produced a lot of mitzvot. And the other one doesn't produce so much. Now you ask, it's not fair. Why the second guy should lose? It's not up to him how many people is going to come to his shul. They make the exact shul. So the answer is, let me read you a story, then you understand what we're talking here about. I told you there's a synagogue called Bet Yaakov in Shchunat Bet Israel. Anytime you come there, it's packed with people. When you look at in the front of this building, you see a sign. What does the sign say? This building was built with 50 Napoleon Zahav. Used to be a coin of gold, many years ago, maybe 200 years ago. It used to call Napoleon. In the time of Napoleon, after he died, I guess, they made a coin after him. A coin of gold, 50 Napoleon coins. I don't know how much she's like today, maybe $500,000, whatever. A whole building. וזה פלאי. And it's a wonder. That's what the sign says. By reading the sign, you don't understand what it means. What does it mean? And it's a wonder. Don't know what it means. What's the secret in this sign? One Talmid Chacham, somebody who knew a lot of Torah, borrowed 50 coins of Napoleon gold from another Talmid Chacham. 2 rabbis, one borrow 50 coins of gold from the other, and came to him in the right time to pay him back the loan. The Torah says someone who borrow money and don't pay on time automatically become wicked. Is Shomer Shabbat. The Torah says, Love rasha velo yishalem. Love rasha velo yishalem. To borrow and not to pay on time, it's called rasha. So, not everyone is allowed to borrow. Today it became a habit. I'll borrow again. What do you mean you borrow? You borrow from another person knowing you're not going to be able to pay him, or there's a 50% chance he won't be able to pay. Why your life is better than him? It's not fair. You bury him to save yourself. One guy in the Holocaust, He had a lot of money hidden. When the Nazi put him in a camp, he still was able to hide all his cash under the ground. Lots of money. But now he's waiting for the war to be over. If he gets saved, he's going to go and take all his money. The Nazis took his son and put him on a truck to the death chambers, to the gas chambers. There was one rabbi, he wrote it in his book. He said, the hardest question somebody ever asked me in my life is this rich guy. He came to me and said, Rabbi, I can bribe the German. In 5 minutes, he's going to get my son out of the list. And I can send him where he's going to pick up his money. But is it allowed? Am I allowed to save my son? Because by getting my son out of the list, he's going to take another Jew instead of him. Am I allowed to do such a thing knowing instead of my son another Jew is going to die? The rabbi told him, you're not allowed. So he started to cry, the rich guy. Look at the Jews we had 2 generations ago. I can't believe. Wow, what a test. Try to be inside his shoes. You have chas v'shalom, such a nisayon. Your son, you love him, young guy. You can save him from the war and he's going to be rich and all his life is in front of him. You can save him for a few $1,000s, nothing. But another Jew will die that you don't know who he is. So the guy said, Hashem, Avraham Avinu almost sacrificed his son to you. And I did. That's it. And he let him die. The guy died. Hard to believe. So, the first Talmid Chacham borrowed 50 coins of gold from the other one. Then, he came and gave him one day a sack, and he returned to him the money. But the way of the Talmidei Chachamim of 200 years ago, that when they are inside the Torah, they're not in this world bichlal. He took the sack and put it somewhere. And he was so deep inside the Gemara, that a few hours later he did not even remember that the guy returned to him the money. So after a few months, the first rabbi called the second rabbi and said, hey, I gave you 50 coins of gold and you never return it. He said, what are you talking about? I came to your house that day, you were sitting learning, I gave you a sack full of coins. I gave it back to you. And he said, listen, you know what the law is. The law is that if you claim that you paid back, you do not admit that you owe money, you have to go to court, you hold the Torah, and you swear in the name of Hashem that you don't owe him money. You have to swear that you paid back. You claim that you paid back. There's a difference if you deny you ever received the money, then you don't have to swear. If you admit that you received some of the money, he claimed you owe him 100,000 and he say, no, you only gave me 20, then you have to swear for the rest. But if you deny it completely, you say, lo hayu dvarim me'olam, you never gave me a penny, I don't know you, you don't have to swear. He has the burden of the proof, to prove that you owe him money, because you deny it. But if you admit some of it, that means something happened between you. Come and swear for the rest. But here, he claimed he paid it back. So he has to swear that he paid it back. The kosher Jews from few generations ago, just hearing the word to swear in the name of God, holding the Torah, got them almost a heart attack. Goosebumps all over their body. I'm going to swear in the name of Hashem for the truth, not for the lie, for the truth. So he told them, listen, I rather pay you back the 50 coins of gold than to go swear. I'm not going to go through this. No problem, I'll bring it to you. Give me a few days, I'll give you the money. Few days he came and he gave him another bag full of 50 coins of gold. Of course, what happened? Few months the guy cleaned for Pesach, and he finds somewhere on the shelf the first bag with 50 coins of gold. What would we do if something like this would happen to us? He almost died from fear, he became very nervous. Right away he took the sack, he ran to look for that rabbi. He found him, he begged on his knees, please forgive me, wow, what did I do? It's my fault, you gave me back the money. So the guy, now if you would be the guy that paid twice, what would you tell him? You should be ashamed of yourself. You made me pay you twice, you're not responsible. Guess what he told him? He told him, I'm sorry, I cannot accept the money from you. I paid you twice, but I cannot accept it back. So what do you mean? It's your money. You paid me double. I lend you 50, you paid me back 100. He said, you don't understand. When I gave you the second bag, I already made a vow that I forgive you for the money. Because if you died, I don't want you to go to hell because of me. I know you're a righteous person. I know you. And if you go to hell because of me, I also have a bad mark in my file. Because if a Jew made another Jew go to hell because of him, he's guilty of it, even though it's really not his fault. Well, the guy hurt me and you want me now to pay for it? That's how far it goes. So he told him, I don't want to accept it. Now, of course, the other guy wants to give it back and he doesn't want to accept it. It's the opposite of what we have today. Today, people don't want to pay. You have to beg them to return what they owe. So they went to the judge, to the court. And the judge said, I have an idea. Since we have an extra 50 coins of gold, it's like about $500,000 today, and none of you wants it, let's open a synagogue with this money. And it's a big thing, because is God going to see two righteous people like these that don't want to accept the money? We'll build a synagogue. It's going to be a lot of blessing in this building. And they went and built that building that I told you. If you want to go to see this building, it's about 200 years ago it was built. It's in Jerusalem. It's called Bet Yaakov Synagogue in Shchunat Bet Israel, the neighborhood Bet Israel. That's where a few blocks away the Arabs put a bomb a few years ago. There was a lot of casualties over there. They did a pigua there, terrorism. That's called Shchunat Bet Israel. Any time you step to that building, 2 o'clock at night, 3, 4, 5, 7 in the morning, the whole world is snoring. Over there it's packed with people who sit and learn. All the other buildings in the area, they have 10 hours a day with activity. The rest is empty. You know, the Chafetz Chaim in Poland, he passed away about 8 years ago. And Chafetz Chaim, one time the Polish, the Goyim, they made a very serious decree against the religious Jews. Something that will prevent the Jews to be able to keep the mitzvot. In Radin, the city of Radin, they came to the Chafetz Chaim, they said, there's nobody in the world deserve more than you to go and speak to the governor, to convince him to cancel the decree. Now, there's only one problem. The Chafetz Chaim, from the minute he was born until the moment he died, he was learning all his life Torah and helping people, and he never got involved with anybody in the market, in the street. So he didn't know how to speak Polish, only Yiddish. And the Goy doesn't know Yiddish, he knows Polish. So you need an interpreter. So they got an interpreter, somebody to translate. Chafetz Chaim went to him. As soon as the Chafetz Chaim was a very small man, he used to walk like this with his stick. There's one picture from him, black and white picture from 8 years ago. You should see the house of the Chafetz Chaim. You go to the poorest neighborhood in the world, you won't find a house like this. How it looked. And this is the chief rabbi of all the world, not only in Poland. He could have had as much as he wanted. He lived in such modest life. I saw the picture of the front of his house, hard to believe. So as soon as the Chafetz Chaim went into the meeting, just when he sat, he started to cry. His heart was broken. So he was saying few words in Yiddish, few words, and crying. After 10 minutes, this guy was so embarrassed, so he said, okay, give me a piece of paper. He wrote, and he took his stamp. The decree is cancelled. The interpreter didn't open his mouth yet. He didn't say a word. So they asked the governor, hey, did you understand what he said? He said, he spoke in an international language, the language of the heart. I don't need to understand. I also have a heart. When I see that this old man, he was maybe 90 years old, he comes and he cries for his nation, that all they want to do is to be religious. I don't understand what he said, but I can assume what he wants. The decree is cancelled. Just when it's over, Chafetz Chaim goes out of the building, 2 Jews are coming to him. What's the story of these 2 Jews? Similar to the synagogue. They decided to open a synagogue and they estimated the wall is going to be, let's say, 100,000 ruble. Just when they're about to finish the building, they're missing an extra 50. The first partner didn't tell his partner, because he was in charge of all the bills, that they need 50 more thousand. He went and gave from his own pocket another 50. Then, accidentally, the other partner found out that he's paying more money. Hey, we didn't have so much money in the account. So he said, hey, I didn't want to bother you. We were short 50,000 and I gave it from my pocket. No, it's not fair. I want to give you 25. We made partnership on this building. No, I already made the mitzvah. I'm not interested to sell you my share in the mitzvah. So, from all this, they argue, and he doesn't want to accept the money, but the other guy doesn't give up. So they came to the Chafetz Chaim. Just when he came out from this minister, they told him, Rabbi, convince him that I want to give him 25,000 ruble, 50-50 on the building. So the Chafetz Chaim told them, now I understand why I had such help from God. When you have 2 people like you in this world, how this decree can come on us? Just for both of you alone, it was war to cancel it. 2 people are fighting who's going to give more money for the building, for the synagogue. Today, everybody get excited in the first day. Let's open. Just when people have to write the checks, like rats, everybody disappear to his corner. Or if they finally open the building, all right, because they want their name to be everywhere. Donation of Moshe and Rivka Cohen. Donation of Sarah and Levi, whatever. But to maintain the building, under the ground, to send money every day for the building, it's very difficult. To open it up, your name is everywhere. It's very easy. To give the money every month to maintain the place, to pay for the bills, for everything they need, it's not that simple. As you all know, before we finished, the situation in the world is getting worse by the minute. You don't have to be a genius to know that we are already in a worst crisis in the history. Everyone is crying, everyone is complaining, everyone is fearing what's going to be next. Are we going to those days that people were standing online with stamps to get food, to get bread and milk just to survive? Are we going back to those days? Most of the people in America, and of course it's needless to say in other countries that are not as wealthy as America, they cannot pay their ordinary bills, the everyday bills. The car, the mortgage, the food, doctor bills. So many Americans are dying because they don't have money for health insurance. They just cannot go to the doctors. They don't go. They have something, they need a doctor, they just don't go. There are many people now that they need root canals on their tooth. It's $2,000 they don't have. So guess what they do? They take a plier and pull their own tooth. I hear stories like this, hard to believe. Just cannot afford to go to the dentist. I just have a friend, a dentist in Canada. He told me that one girl came, she needed root canal, he took care of everything, then she didn't have money to pay. Her mother was calling, crying, they cannot afford to pay. Situations like this. But this is only the beginning. Because we just realized a few months ago that we are in depression. It's going to be a big problem. Why? When the world is in depression, the wars begin. It's going to be a big war. To move the economy, you're going to need a big war. Just today they announced, the United Nations, that 90 million people will die shortly because of shortage of food in Africa. They don't have, the United Nations stopped sending boats with food to Africa. That means people will die from starvation. It starts over there, then it moves to us. But the good news about it is history always repeats itself. When people are wealthy, they live comfortable, they do not have time for God. When the people begin to get choked, they don't know if tomorrow morning they'll have food for their children. All of a sudden, they remember that God is around. They begin to talk to Him. Help me, God. I'm begging you. Don't do it to us. Don't make us lose the house. Where were you 50 years? 50 years you live in houses, you paid all your bills, you never remembered me once. 50 years I gave you oxygen, water, food, car, furniture, children, school, everything you had I gave you, not once I heard thank you. Now when I took 20% of it from you, you're beginning to remember me? That's us. This is the way people are. Jews, non-Jews, it doesn't matter. This is the nature of the people. And if you want to argue with me, I will show you the statistic. Go to South America, non-Jews. All the fancy neighborhoods, Mexico City, in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, everyone is modern. They don't have time for God. No religion, no nothing. Very European style. You go to the villages, when the people are farmers and they're all very poor, every block you have churches. Everyone there, every second word, Dios, adios, Dios, Allah, depend where you are. The poor people connects with God. The rich people, sometimes they do, most of them don't have time for Him. So now I want to ask you a question, what's better? To be a billionaire and all your life you're not connected to your Creator 1 second? You don't even know your purpose of life, you just live and eat like an animal, you want all kinds of pleasures? Or to be poor and be connected to God, knowing the real life begins in time of death. If it was only this life, then I agree. Better to live and enjoy here. But since we know it's only a ticket to the life of eternity and the afterlife, why do you worry so much about this temporary life? Why people are so worried about the situation? The opposite. We should get the good out of it. We must get the good out of it. The good is, first of all, unity. We're gonna be more united. The rich, the poor, there's not gonna be a choice. People will die around you. You're gonna have to help them out. People will lower their lifestyle, their standards. They're not gonna be so connected to material. All the holy books repeat the same concept. If a person is addicted to material, he doesn't have connection to spirituality. It's one complete opposite of the other. It cannot be both. It's either this or that. When your materialism goes higher and higher, your spirituality is dropping. When the material goes down, the spirituality goes higher. That's the way it is. So we see that the Torah says clearly that Hashem is closer to simple people, people that are down to earth, modest, humble, not fleshy people. Every one of us has mental sicknesses. Every one of us. We seem to think that only people who speak to themselves are mentally ill. We don't really know that each one of us is mentally ill. Each one of us. When I say it, this is what I mean. A person that is self-centered, very proud, everything is around him. He wants attention everywhere he goes. He wants to be loud and flashy, and 100 times he decides what shirt I'm going to wear, what tie I'm going to wear, and who's going to give me compliments. This is a sick person. He needs attention all the time. He's proud. Everything in his life is about pride. Nobody will tell me what to do. It leads him to hate, not to have patience for other people, not to have mercy on other people. Sometimes he's going to crush the poor people under him with no mercy because he must get what he wants. Nobody will interfere with my plan. The Rambam wrote, all the traits of the person, he has to be in the middle, not too strict to any one of the sides. If you want to eliminate the materialism in your life completely, it's going to make you miserable. Still need some food, still need a bed to sleep, still need a car, you still need all these things. You need it. You need the food to be a little bit delicious. You cannot eat mud. If you're going to force yourself all the way to the other side, it's going to crush you mentally. You're not going to be able to be righteous. That's why God made beautiful, delicious taste to the food, and these beautiful colors. He could have made the whole world gray. Everything gray or brown. That's it, one color, the whole world. He could make all the food one taste, no taste. That's it, you just eat to survive. He could have made relationship between man to a woman very boring. No pleasure, no nothing. Nobody would want to be together. The only reason we have kids is because of these desires. That's what the Gemara says. Take away this desire, nobody wants to establish home. What for? Who needs the headache? What for? People running after that pleasure, somehow they starting to have kids and this because it's a part of life. So the idea is like this. All the traits, you must be in the middle. Don't be fanatic to one side, don't be to the other side. Except one, pride. If you are a proud person, Hashem cannot stand you. God cannot stand that person. I wouldn't have permission to say it unless if it's written clearly in the Torah. The Torah says, Gva levav oto lo uchal. Someone that is considering himself higher than the others, I cannot stand him. Oto lo uchal, I cannot look at him. Or to'avat Hashem kol gva levav. It's despicable in my eyes, a proud person in front of me. Or in another place, wherever there are proud people, I cannot enter, God said. You already have God over there. Why do you need me? There's another God there. He's the God. He's the boss. One time, I went to a restaurant here in Queens Boulevard. I met the owner of the restaurant. I did a little business with him, and then we became friendly. And every little problem he had, he asked me to pass on my way, to stop by, and we became friendly. So one time I got there, the place wasn't doing so well. It was empty. The restaurant was completely empty. I was surprised that this guy is still in business. There's no customers. Then I started to speak to two brothers, twins, identical twins. Started to talk to them words of Torah, encourage them to become religious. They brought few more neighbors, friends. All of a sudden, we had a class there every evening. I come from work. I used to work in Port Washington, in the industrial park, in a bank over there, a building over there. So on the way back from Long Island, I passed through Queens Boulevard. I used to live in Manhattan. So every night I stopped by, a bunch of Israelis coming. Then I became more creative. The guy saw that the guy put a video with the television over there. I started to bring tapes of great rabbis. I used to put that and everyone is enjoying. Slowly, the business started booming. Until a few months later, the guy one time comes to me. I'm sitting in a table with few guys. We say, hey brother, I need the table. It was line already. Lines of people, they want to come eat. I'm catching a table over there. He needs the table. So, all right, no problem. So the restaurant became very busy. Now, the Satan is willing to give him millions as long as people won't do the right thing. That's his job, the evil inclination. So guess what happened over there? One time there were four guys. What is their job? They're collecting from the poker machines. At that time, when Mayor Giuliani was the mayor, he became the mayor, he's very strict. Before him, everyone who wanted to make a lot of money, they used to put poker machines in delis, in junkyards, everywhere. And once in a while you win. The owner of the store gives you the money. Most people lose. 70-80% of the people lose. Once a week, the collectors go with big bags and collect all the cash from the machine. Tons of money. They used to make tens of thousands of dollars a week, all these Israelis. They used to own these machines. So I speak to four guys. One of them I knew from many years ago. Hi, how are you? And introduce his friends to me. And right away I begin to talk. What am I going to talk to them about? The sport. I talk to them right away to wake them up, to show them, to give them some proofs. They got very excited. One of them had an appointment, he had to go to cut his hair, so his friend said, you're hearing such words, you care about your hair now? Call him, tell him you're not coming. We're sitting for an hour or two, that's it. I tell them, what do? We collect the money from the machines. What day you collect the money? Of course, Shabbat, Sabbath. That's the only day that they have time, they go to collect the money. So I told them, why don't you change the day? Don't work on Shabbat. Go Sunday, go a different day. No, that's the way it is, that's it. There's nothing we can do. We're working for one guy. I say, no. The guy is not God. God said the Jews cannot violate the laws of the Sabbath. It's a covenant, it's an eternal covenant between me and the nation of Israel for eternity. Nobody has permission to make another Jew violate the Shabbat. I explained it to him. I showed him in 12 different places in the Torah. Okay. Few days later, I show up to the restaurant. Now remember, this story is many, many years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I show up to the place, I see a guy, leather jacket, 2 cell phones. Cell phone was luxury at that time. It was 65 cents a minute. That's when cell phone used to be very big. Just 2 big cell phones in his pocket. He's waiting for me in the entrance of the restaurant. A mafia guy. He's the owner of everything. You the one who talked to my collectors? I say, hey. Right away, grabbed me from here, pushed me into the car there on Queens Boulevard. Listen good. Don't dare to talk to them one more word. You're ruining my business. They don't want to work now on Shabbat. They speak to the other collectors. Nobody wants to work on Shabbat. The business is shaking now. So I told him, what do you care? Let them work in another day. Don't tell me what to do. This is the way it is from the day we start the business. Shabbat is the collecting days. Then I told him, no, I cannot tell them such a thing. God said they have to keep Shabbat. They cannot do what you said. Who's going to pay them their salary? You! I'm paying them the salary, they'll do what I tell them. So I told him, don't get God angry, because if he will get angry, he's going to block your nostrils for 1 minute, you'll fall dead on the floor. So I said, hey, enough, you religious people are crazy, I don't want to hear this nonsense, enough. Just listen to what I told you, leave them alone. I say, I'm telling you now, you wait and see, everything you made, you're going to lose everything. You were left with nothing in the end. And that was the end of it. Never saw it. Few months or few years later, I don't remember all the details, they tell me there's a big Hanukkah party in a club. The club has a view on the Twins. It shows all the beautiful buildings of Manhattan. The club is in Brooklyn, right by the water. You stand by the club, you see all these beautiful lights. So they make a Hanukkah party over there with singers and lots of people from the seminars. They invited all of them. I come to the place, I sit there in a table. One of the rabbis called me, come meet the owner of the place. I have to meet the owner of the place. I see this mafia guy in front of me. Either he did not remember me or he pretended, in a party, what is he going to do? It's you again? Oh, it's you again. I shook my hands. All right, it's over. I'm thinking to myself, what happened? How can it be? The guy become even richer now. He owns this club also in a big place. Few weeks later, the Twins collapsed. His business died completely because people got very nervous in those days in New York, no tourism, no nothing. And a few months later, he closed the club. That was his first loss. The club went to the garbage. Then, Giuliani decided no more poker machines in New York. The police used to come and smash the machines. 15, 20,000 machines every day. They smash them all over. They arrest people. All his business of the machines he lost. But he already made a lot of money from before. So he lost the club, he lost all the machines. Then he went into the restaurant business. He opened up a restaurant in Brooklyn, very fancy restaurant. I didn't even know. One day I get a phone call from a waitress. She doesn't say, hi, I'm a waitress. She said, my name is such and such, I'm calling you about a shidduch. Maybe you have a guy for me, I'm 30 years old, whatever. I'm this, I'm that, I'm working here. So she tells me, I'm working for this guy. She tells me the name of that guy. I say, wow, he still have money, this guy. So she said, but I don't know how long I'm going to be employed because he's losing his business now. He's going bankrupt. So in a few weeks, I'm not going to have a job. So if you, by the way, know anyone who can offer me a job, I'm a very good waitress and this. So in the end, all the show that he made and the noise that this guy made, in the end he lost everything. Everything he lost. The illusion that we go through in our life, that we think if we're going to steal, we're going to make a lot of money, if we're going to cheat, we're going to make a lot of money, in a short term, it looks that it's real. Stealing, now you have more money, cannot deny it. Now you had 100, now you have 500, because you stole 400. But only for an X amount of time. Just when you don't realize, somewhere out of nowhere, this money will come out of your budget. You're not going to see the connection. Either you lost it, somebody robbed you, ticket, they towed your car, doctor bill, surgery. The question that we all ask, why God doesn't show us clearly that when we steal, we lose immediately. When we don't keep Shabbat, we get punished immediately. When we embarrass the person, we get embarrassed by somebody else immediately. When we cheat, people cheat on us. Make it measure for measure, 100%. What are you waiting now 17 years until you're punished? The person doesn't even know what's the connection between the punishment and the sin. And the answer is, just remember this, very important to remember. I spoke about it in my film, Torah and Science, in the last hour, but I want to make it clear to you. If the reward and the punishment will be instant, right away, that will eliminate the free choice of a person. Nobody will have a free choice. You light a cigarette on Shabbat, boom, explosion. 2 or 3 people died, nobody will smoke on Shabbat. People who drive on Shabbat right away go into an accident, nobody will drive on Shabbat. Even the Goyim would keep Shabbat. Why? They see 10, 20 Jews try to drive on Shabbat, boom, explosion. So Chris and Ahmed and Bruce Lee and all the Goyim in the world will see, hey, people who drive on Shabbat, they get killed, let's not touch the car. They're allowed to violate Shabbat, it's not a sin for them. But the world will be so clear that every time you make a sin, you died. Every time you make a mitzvah, you get rewarded. It's not going to be any test. There's no test. And the Torah already said that the purpose of the creation, the purpose that God put the soul inside the body, it's only for one reason. Not to eat and drink and enjoy. If He wanted you to enjoy from this world, He will make you a chimpanzee. They also enjoy. They have females. They don't have to buy them drinks. They don't have to put the show. They don't have all this. They enjoy the physical world sometimes better than us. They don't have to work 30 years for the mortgage. They don't have to pay taxes, no doctors, no vaccines, no, I don't know, traffic, whatever you want. They live. They enjoy the nature. The answer is, the Torah already said, the entire purpose of the creation is only for one thing. God is testing you to see what's in your heart. Do you love Him and keep His laws or not? What for? Okay, no. So that's the test. What for? What's the purpose of this test? To get what? To reward you in your end. In your end. What does it mean in my end? All the righteous Jews that we know in history, what did they get in their end? One day they became 75, they died. Some of them had cancer, yes. Some of them started to forget, yes. Some of them were having all kinds of problems, yes. Some of them, their wives died 10 years before, they were lonely for 10 years, yes. So where was the reward? God lied to us. All 3 main religions admit that the Jews received the Torah from God in front of 15 million witnesses. The entire world was shaking when the Jews heard the voice of God speaking from the mountain. Moses was speaking and God is answering him. For the first and last time in history. Nobody can deny such an event. And from then, Judaism brought all the knowledge to all humanity. That's why we call the nation of the book, the children of God. Each one of us is a son of God. Christian has one son of God. They made him an idol. He was a Jew. Each one of us, the Torah says, you are my children. I chose you from all the nations to be mine. That's why we have all this restriction. We cannot do just whatever we want. If you are a prince and your father is the king, you cannot go on the street and smoke drugs. Why? You embarrass your father. People on the street, they can do whatever they want. But you, your father is a king. Your father gave you strict laws because you are important. Torah is that nobody denies it. Nobody denies it. We are the only fools that sometimes forget, and we are denying it. That we should protect it with proud, that we were chosen. What do? Forget it. It's not for me. It's difficult. Torah says, in the end, everyone gets what he deserves. Not in this life. This life is too short to pay reward even for one mitzvah. Just that you understand. If you made one bracha on an apple before you ate it, that's already more reward than to own the entire world for 70 years. We have sources for it. I'm not making it up. The Torah says the reward to the soul after it separates from the body and goes to the upper spiritual worlds, if you take all the reward of all the physical pleasure of all the people in this world, from the beginning of the creation to the end, all of them combined is not equal to 1 hour of the reward of a righteous Jew in the next world. Inside the Torah, I cannot argue with this. יפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא מכל חיי העולם הזה. That's the original language, for those who understand. And what are we doing? Busy with all kinds of illusions and infatuations and imaginations and illusions. We are living, hallucinating. Ignorance is the biggest enemy to the person. The more you learn, the less mistake you make. Many people are sick because they never read the instructions. Many people are not profitable in their business because they never learned their business in the right way. Many doctors make their patients die because they're lazy to read all the new things and the technologies that they come up with. Many accountants make their customer lose millions because they're lazy to read the new rules of the IRS that change every week. The rules are changing. If you're not educated, if you're ignorant, you're paying the price. There's no hocus pocus here. It's no magics. What you cook, you have to eat in the end. You made it too salty, you got to suffer. You made it sweet, you enjoy. Mizrachi Hashem, God willing, you know my website. It's divineinformation.com. And plus we have this great website, TorahAnytime.com. We have more than 100 rabbis over there. Every second, somebody somewhere in the world finding out about this website. Today I got an email from a woman. She's 57 years old. She didn't know she's Jewish until late age in her life. Her parents were Holocaust survivors. They had to pretend they're non-Jews. And obviously, since she already grew up thinking she's a non-Jew, her parents didn't bother changing the facts to her. It's a very long email. Somehow she came across relatives and she found out that their last name was Jewish, very Jewish name. She started to investigate. She found out that she's Jewish. And then she found TorahAnytime.com a year ago. And now she's fully Orthodox. And today she sent me an email. I listened to your previous lectures that you encourage people to donate money for the DVDs, Torah and Science, to show the truth to many other ignorant Jews that don't know what they're living for. And I want you to explain me how to make a contribution to save other souls. Just a few years ago, she was a non-Jew in her mind, and now she's keeping everything and she's thinking about saving other Jews. We have to learn from these people. We always like to learn from losers. Let's learn from the real winners. Not from the loser, from the winners. We learn from them, we'll be half of them. That's better than nothing. Thank you very much. Good night.
God bless you, Rabbi.